It's the eCommerce Master Plan podcast. Here to help you solve your marketing problems and grow your e-commerce business. Cutting through the hype to bring you inspiration and advice from the e-commerce sector and beyond. Here's your host, Chloe Thomas.
Well, hello there, and thank you for tuning in. My name's Chloe. I'm the host of the show, and it's very cool to have you guys out there listening. I've spent a bit of time today looking at the stats on Spotify, on Google Podcast, on Apple, etc., to try and get some kind of idea if I should maybe be starting the show by saying good morning or afternoon or hello and welcome to the evening. Do you know if all of you were listening at a similar time of day, but you're not. But it was a very interesting bit of time just looking at those stats. Did you know most of our Spotify listeners also listen to Drake? Yeah, Drake fans are big e-commerce master plan listeners. Who knew? Well, I did as of earlier, and now you all know too. But anyway, I'm starting to ramble, so let's get on with what I actually need to tell you about today. So first off, I have no interesting stuff for you today. Although if you do want to check out the interesting stuff we previously mentioned, then do head over to ecommercemasterplan.com/stuff for all of that. You can look at that at any time. And I also wanted to say a big hello, a specific hello to everyone listening in the UAE, that's the United Arab Emirates, because we recently hit number 2 in the Apple Podcast Marketing Podcast chart in the UAE. So yeah, number 2 podcast. Thank you very much for that, those of you listening in the UAE. It's most appreciated because it totally made my day. So thank you for that. In today's episode, we're getting into the world of content marketing. We're going to be talking about the strategies that you need to think about, how to go about working out how to start, great ways to brief your team if you want to get into content. We're also talking about B2B e-commerce. It's been a while since we've had a B2B e-commerce business on the show. So for all of you B2B listeners out there, those of you who use your e-commerce business to sell to other businesses, you're going to like this one. For the rest of you who aren't, please do stay tuned because you're still going to pick up a lot of tips of things you can do in your B2C or D2C business in order to help grow that too. So lots on content, lots of cool advice too. The top tip section is particularly good. So before we get into the interview, do check out the sponsors. This podcast is brought to you by Klaviyo, the growth marketing platform used by more than 30,000 e-commerce brands globally. In uncertain times, supporting your community and fostering relationships by being open and empathic is a strategy that will be appreciated and remembered far beyond today. One of the best channels to deliver these communications through is, and always will be, email. Email marketing is one of Klaviyo's foundational offerings, and when you leverage personalization driven by customer insight, you will create memorable marketing moments that cultivate lifelong relationships. Klaviyo truly understands how challenging it is for each and every business right now. Klaviyo is here to help brands communicate, engage, and foster relationships now and when all of this is just a distant memory. Visit klaviyo.com/masterplan. That's klaviyo.com/masterplan. With SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes, you can simply print postage stamps and shipping labels even when working remotely. For as low as $4.99 a month, you'll get access to special discounts and save up to 40% off USPS Priority Mail. Plus, for being an e-commerce master plan listener, you'll receive a free 30-day trial to get started and a free £10 scale to ensure that you never overpay. That includes being able to schedule package pickups and track shipments from departure to arrival. Go to pb.com/masterplan to access this special offer for a free 30-day trial plus a free £10 scale to get started. That's pb.com/masterplan to experience savings in your shipping costs with a free trial of SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes. And now to introduce today's special guest. Kajetan Wyrzykowski is the head of content at Packhelp, a B2B e-commerce business selling bespoke packaging supplies to companies including H&M, Google, Wrangler, T-Mobile, and many, many more. They launched in 2016, now have over 16,000 customers, and make over 500,000 boxes a quarter. Hello, Kajetan.
Hello, hi everyone, and hello, Chloe. Nice to meet you over the podcast.
Yes, it's very cool to have you too. You are our first ever Polish guest.
Fantastic.
And I love a B2B e-commerce story as well. So I'm very much looking forward to this interview.
Me too, yeah.
I've given the listeners a quick overview of Packhelp, but how did you yourself get into this wonderful world of e-commerce?
Well, I started off as a marketer. I was working in a few agencies. It was a PR agency, then it was digital marketing. I never got to know e-commerce in those let's say occupations. And after I went to Canada for an exchange, I think my perspective kind of switched, and I wanted to try something completely different. And this thing became this different angle was a startup. So I applied to Packhelp. At that time, Packhelp was operating only in Poland, and it was called Zapakuj to. And then it grew into what's now one of the biggest companies in Poland among startups, and a very, very interesting journey for me. So that's it was. I would say that it was just basically maybe not by accident, but it was basically I found the company. I contacted the marketing, let's say the marketing. The CMO of the company, and it was a very quick recruitment. I remember that I just came to the office and we had a quick chat, and that was it. I was on board. So that's how it started.
Nice. It must have been very cool being involved right from day one as almost the first employee.
It's very interesting to see how a company grows, a startup grows, because from when you start in terms of marketing, and I would say most business areas, I would say that our marketing strategy was kind of guerrilla marketing, if you could call that. It's basically we were trying various things, and it was just three people. So I had to do everything from social media marketing to content writing to briefing designers and everything. So that was just just about everything. And then as the company grows, you find yourself in more and more specific area, and you understand that from with the growth of the company, you also grow and become an expert in one field, and you're no longer a person who does everything. You kind of see that okay, you devote your time to just one area of business, which is interesting to see and to live through. Yeah.
Definitely. And at what point did Packhelp start selling online, start the e-commerce side of the business? Was that part of the plan from day one, or is it something that's evolved over the last few years?
That's a difficult question. I think it was from day one. As far as I remember, the concept of our founders was that it was actually their case. They were the use case basically, because they worked in the marketing agency and wanted to order some bespoke packaging for one of their clients, and they didn't have the chance. They couldn't find a solution that was quick. Working with printing companies was that was a really challenging experience as far as I've heard, because the nobody wanted to speak to them when the order was below 500 boxes. So that's how they spotted a place to grow a business. That's basically online packaging, small for small companies, small one time orders. And then we kind of grew into a company that works with both small e-commerce, very small companies, one-man bands, as to call them. And we also work with very big brands, and we help them with their packaging supply chains, and that's currently that's a huge part of our focus.
And I often find if you build something for smaller businesses and do it really well, that the enterprise guys come along and go, "Oh, we want a bit of that as well."
Yeah, I think it's true, because I think that many new startups and many entrepreneurs who dream about their own company, they always feel that it's easier to work with the big guys. because the big guys know what they want. The big guys have money, and that's obviously where you want to be. You want to work with people who know their stuff, who know their area of expertise, and they have money to put on the table. But it's very difficult to work with people who, they just have their side business. They are not as experienced as big corporations. But and then it's difficult, but also it's very satisfying, because then it's fantastic to see, and that's the case of many customers of Packhelp, that people write to us that packaging became one of the core values that they have, that their customers love the packaging that they use, and even we have cases when people write to us emails like, "Hey guys, we are just setting up the company. We didn't make any sale yet, but we wanted to let you know that we ordered packaging and we are so excited, and we are waiting for the boxes that you're making for us." So that's a huge responsibility, but also it's just awesome to hear that.
Certainly is. And we've already mentioned that you're based in Poland, but you sell all over the world, I believe?
We don't sell only in Poland, that's for sure. We actually sell in the entire Europe. I think last year our focus was to grow in the UK, grow in Germany, France, so the bigger European markets. And starting from this year, we also opened, let's say, the doors to Packhelp for customers from the US, from Canada, and Australia.
Wow, so true global domination coming up soon.
Yes, we are excited. Also, it's just something that we are trying. So, I mean, like it's just our bet that these are very, very interesting markets for us. But we are completely new to these markets, so we are only learning, and we are eager to gain experience there.
And what platform are you selling on? Is it a Shopify site? Were you able to put it on Magento, or have you had to create something completely bespoke because of the product?
No, it's completely bespoke. It's not anything any of the popular tools that you've mentioned. It's a bespoke platform that we've built for our own purposes.
And how many are there in the Packhelp team these days?
Oh well, I think when I started, it was 16 people. Currently, I believe it's around 140, 130,
Wow.
something like that. Yeah.
And are you doing everything in-house, or are there key things which you outsource?
We do not outsource, but we have plenty of people who work remotely. Mostly our content writers, because our website is available in 7 languages in total. So every website, every linguistic version has its dedicated content manager. Plus, obviously, I'm not talking about within the 120, 30, 40. I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact number.
No, that's okay.
But, yeah, but I'm not including the vendors, the network of vendors, because that is an insanely big amount. It's we get vendors all over the world, so I honestly don't know how many people we collaborate with as with partners, let's say, as vendors who work with us.
And those vendors, I'm assuming, kind of work with the end user to input orders into your system. Would that be right?
Yes, I mean the vendors are basically producers of packaging. So printing houses.
Okay.
Yeah, so printing houses and yeah.
I got you. So someone in America who places an order with Packhelp, their boxes don't get dispatched from Poland; they get dispatched from somewhere in the States.
That depends. Like the way we work and why we have a network of vendors is that we want to mitigate any kind of risk. In terms of production and in terms of delivery as well. A basic example: if all of our production would be done in Poland, shipping 1,000 of boxes to the US, or even it would be more costly to ship it to Australia. So talking about margins and talking about profitability, it would be very difficult to not to lose money on that kind of shipment, I would say. So that's why we decided that if we want to grow exponentially as a global brand, let's say, as a global marketplace for packaging, it has to be done along with the growth of the network of our vendors.
Nice, makes perfect sense. And you mentioned there, about the content team, and you said earlier about how with the being involved in all the marketing, then drilling down to one area. And you're now very much involved in the content side of things, and that's something I wanted to talk to you about, because I think content is often overlooked in e-commerce as an area to invest in, which I think is crazy, because your content does the job of the salesperson. So what are the key kind of content areas for focus for you guys at the moment for getting those sales?
Yes, I agree with you. That's a mistake that many companies make, that they overlook the value of content. I think there are two reasons for that. First of all, I remember even from my academic days, that content marketing and it's never mentioned as something important for new entrepreneurs and people who are supposed to establish their companies. And second of all, I believe that there aren't still many good content creators, and it's just difficult for people, for small brands, to find trustworthy people to create this content in the first place. And the third thing that came up to my mind is something that we also struggle with, is actually measuring the impact of brand awareness and content marketing, tying the dots, connecting them and trying to find, okay, so what exactly was the result of this particular piece of content? While, for example, if it's a blog, if it's an article, it's easy. You just basically use the UTMs and you see everything in your analytics. It gets pretty difficult when it comes to, a campaign that you have, and you create videos and you create all kinds of materials that you distribute in many ways, in social media, and then you try to evaluate, okay, so what was exactly the impact of this campaign? And I think that's the issue with content marketing, is that many people just want to rely solely on data. We are, like, I would say that Packhelp is a data-driven company, but let's say, despite this data-driven approach, we know that some things are very difficult to measure, and it's difficult for everyone in the world. It doesn't matter if you're in the UK, in Poland, in the US. It's just basically difficult to measure some let's say, what kind of impression does a YouTube video make, and then what does it bring at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's very hard when you're trying to stack up the investment in content marketing versus investment in Facebook ads or Google ads, because it's so hard to compare them. But I want to come back to kind of like your second point about the lack of good content creators. I think it's also something which, to my mind, feeds into that challenge is the lack of people's ability to brief a content creator well, because it's quite hard to understand how one piece of content is better than another piece of content. So I think often people fall down at the stage of working out what content they need and how to assess who they're hiring to create it.
Absolutely, 100% agree. I mean, like, as a person who, as I mentioned, like, I went from being a content writer, and then I was creating blog articles and pieces of content dedicated for various other channels like Pinterest and that sort of thing. I know how hard. I mean, that's true. Like, I know how hard it is to brief someone to write a good article. That's the first thing. And the second of all, sometimes that was something that we struggled with for like, I would say, back in the days when we hired our content writers and everything was going smooth, great, until we realized that without buyer personas, without the right set of tools that kind of create an image of someone that we are writing to, we will not be able to create content that works, that converts. And that's something it's a huge challenge. It's very difficult to brief someone to write a good article, because at the end of the day, you don't always have the full control. As a writer myself, I also have a blog of my own about films, and that's also my struggle. Like I sometimes I think, okay, so I can see that this article and this article gets traffic, but I don't know why people are there, because, for example, it could be the case that there is one review is having, I don't know, 1,000 views, 10 other reviews have 100 views, and is it just the movie? Is it something that's in this very popular review? Is it something else? That's very difficult to assess.
So would you say, go back to the customer avatar, the customer persona, would you say before anyone starts on their content marketing and investing in that part of it, they really need to have a good grip on who that customer they're talking to is?
For sure. I mean, in terms of, like, I can see a lot of companies, a lot of business owners, they feel that having a blog, basically like a blog, and I hear that a lot, even when I talk to my friends who work in some other companies that are smaller and they're just starting, and they ask me this question, like, "Hey, Kajetan, do you think that we should have a blog?" And I always answer like, "Okay, yeah, sure, but what's the point of having a blog? Like, what for you, for your company?" Because at the end of the day, you always have to know who is it for, who's going to benefit from this kind of content. When you create something that's very detailed and data driven, do you expect someone who's got a one-man band and a very small business on his side, apart from regular job? I don't think that something that's very, very in-depth and data-driven is going to convince him to buy. I would say that, okay, like, you have to explain some things, you have to be more helpful, you have to be a partner in the discussion. And data-driven reports and all this kind of stuff works for people who, for example, have a bigger budget to juggle with, and they are and they need to see that, okay, these guys are serious. These guys know this industry in and out.
Yeah, because it's if you're trying to sell fashion, then how to wear a dress. Actually, I was going to say how to wear a dress is kind of unimportant. How to do up your dress is not a content you need.
Exactly.
But you might be giving people inspiring content of where to wear it, what to accessorize it with. Whereas for a company like Packhelp, I would imagine a lot of your content is around ways in which your products can help people sell more, and also how to brief well, how to pick your good packaging.
Exactly. I mean, it's and I can honestly say that this is one of the things that we are still working out. To be honest, it's something that the many of our customers still have the problem that they don't know which type of packaging will work well with their product, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to create content that explains it, as you say. Like, for example, if you are a fashion brand owner, we recommend this and this because this works for retail, or this works for trade fairs, or this works for e-commerce. So basically, we are trying to. I would say that our mission is to educate the customers well, so everything that they buy with Packhelp, that's actually something that they can use, and actually it helps them, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's that endless challenge, isn't it, of what exactly is the content you need to create. And I guess that one of the big challenges with content over time is that as you solve the first couple of problems that the customers have got, or the first couple of things they want to know from you about, that then creates a whole host of other things you should be telling them about. And then as you move and expand into different countries, as the customer type evolves, then the whole list, it's like a never ending list of things we really need to create.
Yeah, exactly. Like, one of the things that we are learning now is we are pushing a lot of effort into growing our offer for bigger companies, and trying to find the, let's say, the common language. And this is something that's challenging on my side as a content, as the guy who takes care of content as well, because at the end of the day, my responsibility is to know how to communicate these things and what should we tell them, and that's why, for example, we're developing very detailed case studies with our customers. We jump on calls. We talk how, for example, packaging helped them decrease costs and everything, because this is something that when as your company grows, you focus more and more on cost effectiveness and basically cost reduction, and this is how we are trying to deliver the kind of content that they expect from us.
And when it comes to, when it comes to channel choice, because we mentioned a number of different channels during the course of today. We talked about, we mentioned Pinterest, we mentioned blogs, we mentioned some other things. How do you decide? Does it come like we need to put something in this channel, or is it we need to solve this problem for the customer? What would be the right channel, the right format to put it in? Is it content first or format and channel first, I suppose?
Chloe, that's a very, very difficult question.
Sorry.
No, it's great. I mean, like that's honestly, this is something that I'm thinking about every day. What goes first and how to approach it. In that's just my opinion. I think that the channels and content should go side by side. So for example, if let's say like my current focus over the last months was and is to grow our LinkedIn channel, because I believe that B2B is very strong. B2B marketing is very strong in LinkedIn, and we would like to have a better presence there. So I started with the channel. So I thought, okay, I think that this is my bet. My bet is that LinkedIn is going to be fantastic for getting leads and growing our content base and finding new people who we can help with our solution, with our product. And then once I had this channel, once I had LinkedIn, I started thinking, okay, so what people are looking for on LinkedIn? What's the focus? Is it reports? Is it something? Is it growing? Is it management? That was one example of how I tackled this problem, let's say, and I'm still tackling it.
E-commerce Master Plan is supported by some of the greatest companies in the e-commerce sector. Here's a reminder of who they are.
How are the leading D2C brands growing their businesses? They're using Klaviyo, the growth marketing platform chosen by over 30,000 global innovative online brands. Klaviyo believes in supporting growth, which is why they won't tie you into lengthy contracts, hidden setup or support fees, or feature-based pricing. With a platform that's both powerful and easy to use, it's no surprise so many brands have switched to Klaviyo. Looking for one more compelling reason? Brands switching to Klaviyo see an average of 62 times ROI on their investment. Ready to learn more? Visit klaviyo.com/masterplan. That's klaviyo.com/masterplan. With SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes, you can simply print postage stamps and shipping labels, even when working remotely. For as low as $4.99 a month, you'll get access to special discounts and save up to 40% off USPS Priority Mail. Plus, for being an eCommerce Master Plan listener, you'll receive a free 30-day trial to get started and a free £10 scale to ensure that you never overpay. So you can calculate the exact postage online, print from your PC, and avoid trips to the post office. Go to pb.com/masterplan to access this special offer for a free 30-day trial plus a free £10 scale to get started. That's pb.com/masterplan to experience savings in your shipping costs with a free trial of SendPro Online from Pitney Bowes.
It's time for the top tips round.
I love this section because it gives me and our listeners some really quick ideas for taking our businesses to the next level. So, Kajetan, are you ready for the top tips?
Yes, let's do that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. The book top tip. If everyone listening to this podcast agreed to take Friday off and read a book to make their business better, which book would you recommend?
So two books, if I may. So one that came to my mind is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Simply because that was the first book that I ever read about startups and about establishing a business, the challenges that are waiting there outside in the world for a new entrepreneur. And I think Peter Thiel is someone who established Palantir and he invested in Facebook. I think that this is a person that you can listen to. And the second book that came to my mind is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Obviously, it's a classic. I would recommend it because it's not long. I think if you want to grow your business, at the end of the day, business is just maybe not war, but it's just basically competition and finding your place. And I think that this book, The Art of War, it provides a lot of great examples of how military can be applied, like military strategies can be applied to e-commerce. For example, there is a chapter about maneuvering the army, and this is a fantastic analogy to entering new markets, and what can you do to gather to gain customers, find your way to exist there. So these two books, I think they would be awesome.
I would completely agree with you. The traffic top tip. Which marketing method do you either prize above all others or think doesn't get the press it deserves?
Let's say number one traffic generation tip. I would say that what works for us is focusing on SEO and working closely with tools such as Ahrefs and finding, monitoring how our website performs. Second of all, we have a huge like a very good strategy in terms of AdWords and how we use paid marketing to support every content that we have. And in terms of something that doesn't get the press it deserves, I would say that it's LinkedIn because we only started this thing and it really brings cool results. And from what I've seen, not many e-commerce businesses really have their presence on LinkedIn. And I can see that LinkedIn is a platform where people are really open to talk about business, and they it's for example, my impression is that Facebook is super overpriced, let's say, and both in terms of paid marketing and social media marketing. I really feel that Facebook is basically going down, and there are some other things that you could see as your traffic generator. And for e-commerce businesses, judging from many of our customers, Instagram, that's a fantastic source of traffic and leads and customers.
I love it, Kajetan. You're giving us so much great advice here. Brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, the tool top tip. Maybe a collaboration tool, a social media plugin, a phone app, or just a way of working. Is there a cool little tool you use that makes you and your team more efficient from day to day?
Personally, I used to use two apps that I can recommend. One is Sniply. That's just something that you can use if you want to share someone else's article and you don't want to lose the opportunity to get people to your website. It creates a small widget that appears on someone else's website. So, for example, you take an article and you share it on your social media channels. But when someone clicks on this article and the link is made with Sniply, the reader will see a small widget that says, hey, by the way, there is something that you want to check out, or something like, if you need something, in our case, custom packaging, click here. And it brings people to your website. Second thing is Buffer, because it's very easy to use and organize all the social media in one place. And in terms of other tools, like, let's say the management of tasks and everything, for me, the obvious winner is Asana. We've been using Asana for a long time, and I believe that if I was ever to suggest something, recommend a tool for team collaboration, Asana is definitely my first pick.
Excellent. Yeah, more good advice. I'm always amazed how few people seem to know about Sniply, because it's just such a powerful thing.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
The growth top tip. If you met someone today who's focused on growing their e-commerce business from 100 orders per month to 1,000, what would be your number one tip for them?
I would say referrals. Because for e-commerce businesses, and that's something that I've learned after reading a lot about Airbnb, Uber, and these bigger companies that grew exponentially. Uber basically used referrals. Like if you have the kind of social proof and you gain trust of your customers, and you are able to kind of convert your customers into your marketing channel. I know that sounds terrible, but I think the idea is there. Like if your customers are so happy with your product that they want to recommend it and they want to say, hey, like, this is awesome, I bought it, I think this is a great service, this is a great product, or you are able to convince them otherwise. Like you basically share some discounts and that sort of thing. For an e-commerce business, I think that should work really well. And if someone is really ready to spend a lot of time optimizing website and developing a content strategy, if you really find the sweet spot for your content, I also believe that growing from 100 to 1,000 is possible, but it's going to be more difficult.
Kajetan, you've given us so many good answers today, and it's been really cool getting into the world of content with you. But before we say goodbye, could you let the listeners know where they can find you and Packhelp on the web and social media, please?
Of course. So if you would like to visit our website, this is www.packhelp.com. And Packhelp, there's no hyphen, anything. It's just www.packhelp.com. In terms of social media, we are present in Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest. You can find us there. Just basically type in Packhelp, and then you'll see a small blue logo, and that's how you can see us. And if you would like to talk to me directly, if you would like to get some tips and on regarding packaging industry or marketing, I'm very happy to talk to you. So it's best to reach to me via LinkedIn. So I know my name is quite difficult for some listeners. So my name is Kajetan Wyrzykowski, and if you manage to write it and find me on LinkedIn, then I'm happy to connect and talk.
And we'll put Kajetan's the spelling, which, hey, I'm struggling with it too. We'll put the spelling of your name in the show notes. We'll put the link to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes. And those of you who are currently listening via an app, you should have his name and the correct spelling of it pretty clear in front of you on your mobile, I hope. And I believe, Kajetan, you've got a discount code for the listeners if they want to try out Packhelp and up the standard of their packaging.
Yes. So if you would like to if you need custom packaging and you would like to try working with us, we have a special discount as usual. As far as Chloe, you told me you always use the discount code Master Plan, and this is exactly what you have to use. So if you go to our website, you choose the packaging that you would like to order, just basically use the discount code Master Plan at the checkout, and you will have a 10% discount on your order.
And I believe that's valid for just the next 2 weeks, isn't it, from this podcast going live?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So you go, guys, act fast. Love a bit of urgency. Always good to deploy the urgency. Kajetan, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been very cool catching up with you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. That was fun to be here and to share some tips and some kind of expertise. And I hope to talk to you soon and keep in touch.
So lots of insight in how to get on with your content marketing there, how to build that content strategy. So you're thinking about the problems that the customer has, being really clear on that customer avatar or customer persona, whichever one you want to call it, is fine by me. And also then really understanding which channel is going to work for you and what format that content should be in. Quite a few really interesting tips there from Kajetan too. Loved his top tips answers. If you haven't tried Sniply, do go and try it, snip.ly, if you've not come across it before. Now, you can get all the links, including the one to Sniply, and details of that great offer, which Kajetan shared with us, at ecommercemasterplan.com/podcast. There you will find a link to this episode where all that great detail will be, including the link to him on LinkedIn and all the correct spellings as well, because I'm not even going to try. I'm very impressed that I managed to pronounce Kajetan's name. I'm not going to try and spell it for you. So you'll have to go to the show notes for that, which is ecommercemasterplan.com/podcast. And if you're enjoying the e-commerce masterplan podcast, please do share it with your e-commerce friends, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, over a coffee, over a pint. Maybe we'll get together, listen to it on a Zoom call or something. Whatever you want to do is fine by me, but please do spread the word, because the more people who listen to this, the more people we can help. I hope you have a great week. Keep optimizing.
Thank you for listening to the e-commerce masterplan podcast. Find out more at ecommercemasterplan.com/podcast.